Everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So here today we are going to be solving radical equations. So if you don't want to miss anything for A levels, just subscribe. So now, solving radical equations will give you answers that sometimes might not be even part of the solution. So like for example, let's say we take a normal equation such as our x minus 3 should be equal to 1 like that. So solving this is simple grade 1 work. We can be able to say that this is x should be equal to 1. We take the 3 the other side, we are going to have plus 3. So it will be our x is equal to 4 like that. So our 1 plus 3 will give us 4 like that. However, let's see what happens when we say our x minus 3 should be equal to 1, this one. So let's say now we choose to square both sides. We choose to square this side, we square this side. What do we have? So when we square this side, so this is the same as having two brackets, x minus 3, another bracket, that's the meaning of x squared. So we have x minus 3 should be equal to, we have 1 squared this side. So to expand this is the same as this x multiplies everything in the other one. So this will be x, open brackets, x minus 3. Then this second number multiplies everything there. So we are going to have minus our 3. Then open brackets, x minus 3 should be equal to positive 1 like that. So we are going to have our x times x, it will be x squared. X times 3, it will be minus 3x. Then negative 3 by x, it will be minus 3x. Negative 3 times 3, this one will be plus our 9, which should be equal to 1. So now what do we get? So we are going to get x squared minus negative 3 minus negative 3. It will be negative 6x. Then we have plus 9. We take the 1 this side. We are going to have minus 1 should be equal to 0. So we are going to have our x squared minus 6x. Then we have plus 8, which should be equal to 0. So we are going to be using product, sum, and factor. So just in case you don't know how to do that, kindly comment in the comment section so that I can forward the video. So a quick review. So we need to find the product. So our product is equal to AC. So in a quadratic equation, this is our A, this is our B, this is our C. So AC should be equal to, our coefficients here is 1 times the C, it is 8, which should be equal to 8. Now our sum should be equal to B. So our sum should be equal to B, which should be equal to B in this case is equal to negative 6. Then our factors, those are values that we can use. When we add them, they give us negative 6. When we multiply them, they give us a positive 8. So if you multiply negative 2 times negative 4, you're going to get positive 8. If you add them, you're going to get this. So just in case you don't know that method, just comment so that I forward you the video. So now with that said, we are going to find that where there is B, we are going to put, so yeah, we are going to replace there. So we have our x squared. For B, we replace this value. So we have minus 2x minus our 4x plus 8, which should be equal to 0. So we are going to have our x is common. Then we are remaining with our x minus 2. Then we have minus 4 is common for negative 4 and 8. Then we are going to have our x minus 2, which should be equal to 0. So we are going to have one bracket will be x minus 2. Then another bracket will be x minus 4, which should be equal to 0 like that. So we are going to say either x minus 2 is equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So our x is equal to 2 or our x is equal to 4 like that. So already if we do that, that means to say we have found two values. So in order for you to know which one is working, you need to now verify by placing in the value. So that is how this will work. So now we are going to verify. So we are going to be testing. So let's say testing. Let's say we say that our x is equal to 2. No, sorry, not this equation. We use the original equation, which was saying that we have our original equation, which is x minus 3 is equal to positive 1. If x is equal to 2, is it true that we are going to get 1? So we have to test. So it will be 1 minus 3 should be equal to 1. So our, 2 here, 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Then our 2 minus 3 gives us negative 1 should be equal to positive 1. Now this is false. So already this is false. So meaning to say what you have found when you square, this is not part of the solution. Then when you say when x is equal to positive 4, for the equation which is saying x minus 3 should be equal to 1, this will work. So we have 4 minus our 3, which should be equal to 1. 4 minus 3 will give us a positive 1, which is equal to positive 1. This is true, which we found just using the normal thing to say x minus 3 is equal to 1. If we take the 3 the other side, we have plus 3. We found the value of x is equal to 4. So as long as that's the case, it will be one might be true, one might be false as a result of squaring. So you have to verify. That's how the principle of radicals work. So let's now be able to answer other questions. So let's say we have this one. Now let's deal with our radicals. So immediately you look at this, you square them. So we are going to square this. So we are going to have, so this square and the square root will cancel. So we are going to have 3x plus 1 should be equal to our 7 squared. So we have our 3x plus 1. 7 squared is equal to 49 like that. So we are going to get a 3x, which should be equal to 49. So the 1 crosses the equal sign, we have minus 1 like that. So our 3x will be equal to 48. So now the value that we are going to find, we divide 3, we are going to get x is equal to 16. So this one, we are going to be calling it a tentative solution. So when we say tentative, we simply mean to say we are not sure whether this solution will work or not. So we are going to test. So we are going to test our x is equal to 16 whether it will work. So we have the square root of our 3x plus 1, which should be equal to 7. So we are going to say the square root of our 3, where there is x, we put 16 plus 1, which should be equal to, we are going to have a positive 7 there. Then 3 times 16, this one will give you, 3 times 16, this one will give you 48. Then we have plus 1 should be equal to 7 that is here. So we have the square root of our 49, which should be equal to 7. So our square root of 49 gives us 7, which should be equal to 7. So this is true. So one thing that you need to know, so we can say that the solution set should be equal to the value that is working. So x, the one that is working for x is equal to 16. So this is your solution set. Other problems won't have more like the solution set, like it will just be an empty set. So one thing that you need to know about solving these radicals is if you have, let's say, the square root of 16, we are not going to say under this topic, we are not going to say the answer will be plus or minus 4. No, we are just going to consider the positive. So we are going to have positive 4 like that. So now with that said, let's be able to answer the second part. Let's say we have the square root of 3x plus 1 should be equal to negative 7. So the key pointer is this. As long as you have a square root and you have a negative this side, it won't work. So let's try. So we have the square root of 3x plus 1. So we are going to square this side. So we have squared. We square this side. Then this square and this will cancel. So we are going to have 3x plus 1, which should be equal to negative 7 squared is the same as negative 7 times negative 7. So which will be our 3x plus 1, which should be equal to negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49 like that. We take the other side, so we have 3x should be equal to 49 minus 1. So we have our 3x should be equal to 49 minus 1 will give us a 48. Then we divide over 3 over 3. Our x value should be equal to a 16. So now let's test for the equation that is saying that the square root of 3x plus 1, then we have should be equal to 7. So remember, this is our tentative solution and sure solution. So we are going to have the square root of our 3, then where there is x we put 16 plus 1, which should be equal to, we are getting a negative 7 this side according to the question. So we have the square root of 48, because 3 by 16 gives you 48, plus 1 should be equal to negative 7. So you will find that you are going to have the square root of 49 like that should be equal to negative 7. So the square root of 49, taking the positive, it is 7, which is not equal to negative 7. Now we have only found one value. So we are going to say, since already x is equal to 16 is not working. So meaning to say there is actually no solution for this one. So we can say solution set should be equal to an empty set, because none of the solutions are working. So let's advance things a bit. Let's say we have the square root of 3x plus 1 should be equal to our x. So what do we do? So we are going to say that this will be the square root of our 3x plus 1. Then we are going to take, now get the thing clear. If you want, you can introduce the square here, you introduce the square here, but the approach is that we want to make it as simple as possible. So we take the one without the square root on the other number that is not having the square root, so that expanding is much easier. So this will be equal to x minus 1 like that. So when we do this, we can now be able to square. So we square this side, we square this side. So this square and this one will go. So we have our 3x plus 1 should be equal to, we have, this is the same as having x minus 1. We have x minus 1. So we can multiply. So we have our 3x plus 1 should be equal to, then we get our first number multiplies everything. So we have our x minus 1. Then the last number we have minus 1. Then we multiply by our x minus 1 like that. So we are going to get a 3x plus 1 should be equal to our x times x. This one gives us x squared. X times 1, we are going to get negative x. Then negative 1 times x, we are going to get negative x like that. Negative 1 times 1, we are going to get plus 1. So yeah, that's how we expand. So we have our 3x plus 1 should be equal to, we have our x squared, negative x minus x. This one gives us negative 2x. Then we have plus 1. Therefore, what we are going to get is, let's take everything this side. So we are going to get 0. This side should be equal to, we have x squared, then we have minus 2x. Then this one goes this side, we have minus 3x. So it has gone that side. We have plus 1, which is this one. Then this one minus 1. So we are going to get 0 should be equal to x squared minus 5x. So already this is 1 minus 1 is just 0. It's okay if you don't write it. So now factorizing this, we are going to get a 0 should be equal to, we have our x is common, open brackets, x minus 5 like that. Then it's either x is equal to 0, we are just equating, or this part is also equal to 0. So our x minus 5 should be equal to 0. So our x should be equal to 5 like that. So x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 5 like that. So already, just by doing that, we have two tentative solutions. So this is the tentative solution. So the tentative means to say unsure solution. So now we are going to verify whether or not this will work. So we are going to get our original equation, which is saying that we have our 3x plus 1. So this is our equation. So we are going to say when x is equal to 0, what are we going to get? Are we going to get the value that will be here? So we are just replacing now. So we have 3, then where there is x we put 0, then we have plus 1, then plus 1 should be equal to, where there is x we put 0. So we are testing. So we are going to get a square root of our 0. So 3 times that will give us 0 plus 1. Then we have plus 1 should be equal to 0. Then we are going to get the square root of 0 plus 1 is 1. Plus 1 should be equal to 0. So already here the square root of 1, we take the positive. So it will be 1 plus 1, which should be equal to 0. 1 plus 1 gives us 2, which is not equal to 0. So already this solution is false. So that's not your actual solution. So let's try to use 5. So we are going to say the square root of our 3, where there is x we put 5. Then we have plus 1. Then plus 1 should be equal to, where there is x we put 5. So after doing that, we are going to get a square root of, we have 3 by 5, it will give us 15 plus 1. Then we have plus 1 should be equal to 5. So the square root of 15 plus 1, so this is 15 plus 1 will be 16 plus 1 like that, which is equal to 5. The square root of 16 is 4. We have plus 1 should be equal to 5. So our 4 plus 1 will be 5 should be equal to 5. So this one is already true. So already this is true. That means to say that your solution set will be equal to what value is working. So when x is equal to 5, the value is working. So let's say we have this problem. So we are going to say the square root of x should be equal to x. Then the 6, if we take it this side, it will be minus 6 like that. Then we are going to have the square root of x, which should be equal to our x minus 6. Then from here, we are going to square both sides. We square here, we square here. So when we square this side, this root, this square and this square root will cancel. So we are going to have our x, which should be equal to, this is the same as having 6 minus x minus 6, another one x minus 6. That's the meaning of squared. So we are going to get x should be equal to, this x multiplies everything. So we have x, open brackets, x minus 6. Then we have minus 6 multiplies everything. So we have our x minus a 6 like that. So we are going to have our x, which should be equal to x times x. We are going to get x squared. X times 6, it will be minus 6x. Negative 6 times x, it will be minus 6x. Negative 6 times negative 6, it will be plus 36 like that. So when we do that, we are getting x should be equal to, we have x squared minus 12x plus 36. So we are going to take this x this side. So we have 0 should be equal to x squared minus 12x minus x plus a 36. So we are going to get 0 should be equal to x squared minus negative 12 minus negative 12x minus x. It will be negative 13x. Then we have plus a 36 like that. So now when we get this, we are going to, this is a quadratic equation in which we have a, our b, and our c. Just in case you don't know how to do that, just comment. I forward you the video for solving using the factorization. So we are going to have our product, which is our a times c, which should be equal to, our coefficient here is 1, so we have 1 times a 36, which will be 36 like that. So now our product, then we have our sum, which is just equal to just the b. In this case, the coefficient of the b is negative 13. Then when we do that, we have the factors. So the factor are the two numbers which when you add them, they are going to give you negative 13. When you multiply, they give you 36. In this case, the factors will be negative 4 and negative 9. So if you multiply negative 4 by negative 9, you're going to get a 36. If you add them, you're going to get negative 13. So let's replace in our original equation. So let's replace. So we have our 0 should be equal to x squared. Where there is b, we put these numbers. So negative 4x minus 9x plus a 36, which will be 0 should be equal to x is common. Open brackets, x minus 4. Then we have minus a 9 is common. So here we are going to remain with x since 9 is common. So we have our x. So we are factorizing in parts. So then we have 36 divided by negative 9 gives you negative 4 like that. So we are going to have our 0 should be equal to, we have one bracket, it will be x minus 4 since those are common. Then the other bracket, it will be x minus 9 like that. So it's either your x minus 4 is equal to 0 or your x minus 9 is equal to 0. So our x is equal to 4 when we take the for this side, or our x is equal to 9 like that. So already when you do that, we can now be able to test. So let's see, testing the solution. Testing solution. So let's say when x is equal to 4, we are going to get the square root of, where there is x we put 4, plus 6, which should be equal to, where there is x we put the 4. So we have the square root of 4 is 2 plus 6, which should be equal to 4. So we are going to get 2 plus 6 will give us 8, which is not equal to 4. So already this one is false like that. So if it is false, let's try the other one, which is saying that when our x, so when x is equal to 9, let's try this one since the other one has not worked. So when x is equal to 9, we know that the equation is the square root of x, the square root of x plus 6 should be equal to x. So we are going to replace. So we have the square root of our 9, then we have plus our 6 like that should be equal to, where there is x we put 9. So we have the square root of 9, taking the positive, it will be 3 plus the 6, which should be equal to 9. Our 3 plus 6 gives us a 9, which is equal to 9. So this is true. So that means to say solution set should be equal to, we are going to get the 9 that is working. So that's our solution set. Let's say we have the cube root there. So what we are going to have is, we can square this. No, sorry, we must match the power. So if there's the cube root here, you cube this, you also cube this. So you are going to find that this cube and this cube root will cancel. So we remain with 2x plus 3 should be equal to, this negative 3 cubed means negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, which should be equal to, we have our 2x plus our 3, which should be equal to, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, times negative 3 is negative 27. So we are going to have our 2x, which should be equal to, we have negative 27. Then we take the 3 this side, it will be minus 3 like that. So we have our 2x should be equal to negative 30 like that. So what do we have? So we divide our 2, our x will be equal to negative 15 like that. So let's try to test for the solution. So what we have is, we have the cube root of our 2. So what we have is, where there is x, we put negative 15. Then we have our plus 3. So what we are going to have is plus our 3, which should be equal to negative 3. We are testing the solution. So we have the cube root of 2 by 15 gives us negative 30 plus 3, which should be equal to negative 3. So we are going to have the cube root of our negative 30 plus 3 will give us negative 27, which should be equal to negative 3. So our cube root of 27 gives us negative 3, should be equal to negative 3. So the cube root is the number you can multiply 3 times to give you that number. So the cube root of negative 27 is negative 3. So this one is a true statement. So if it is true, that means to say your solution set will be comprised of the same negative 15 since it is working. Let's go to our next problem, which is quite interesting. So let's say you have this problem. So how do you solve it? So here, if you want, just as we have been saying, you can square here, square here. The answer will be okay. But that would make the problem to be more and more complicated. So what do? Take the radical on the other side so that at least you have a number and a radical. So we are going to have the square root of our x plus 4 like that should be equal to 1 plus the square root of our x minus 1. So if this goes the other side, this negative changes to positive. Then we are going now to square this. So we square this, then we square this. So we are going to have the square root of our we are going to have this and this cancel each other, so we have x plus 4 should be equal to, so this means that we have 1 plus the square root of our x minus 1, then we have our 1 plus the same thing, 1 plus the square root of our x minus 1 like that. So therefore this will be our x plus 4, which should be equal to, we have this one multiplies everything, so we have 1, then we have 1 plus the square root of our x minus 1. Then also let's reduce the size of this, so we have something like this. Then we are going to also multiply this root, let it multiply everything there, so it will be 1 plus the square root of our x minus 1 like that. So by doing that, we have our x plus 4, which should be equal to 1 times 1, it will be 1, plus 1 times 1 doesn't change anything, so it's 1 times 1 here, it will just be the square root of our x minus 1 like that. Then after doing that, we move on to our square root of x minus 1 times 1, it will be plus the same thing, which will be our x minus 1 like that. Then we are going to have plus the square root of this times the square root of this. So what we were doing, if you haven't seen the radical video, just comment, I forward the link. So you have, this is power 1, this is also power 1. So we are going to put a 1 here. So now the way it is, just keep one base, the rules of indices. So we are going to keep the x minus 1, then we are going to have 1 times 1, so it will be, or 1 plus 1, it will be a 2 here. So automatically we are going to get x plus 4, which should be equal to 1. Then square root of x minus 1 plus the square root of x minus 1, it will be plus 2 square root of our x minus 1. Then we have plus this one and this one cancels. Then we are going to have just our x minus 1 since we have cancelled that, so we just remain with what is inside like that. So from here we can now be able to reduce some things. We are going to get a, so we have a 4 should be equal to, we collect the like term, so already we have this one, it's 2 square root of our x minus 1. Then we have plus our x, which is this one. This x crosses the equal sign, we have minus x. Then we have minus 1, which is this one. We also have this one plus 1 like that. So after doing that, we are going to have 4 should be equal to 2 square root of our x minus 1. So already the square root of our x, or our x minus x is 0. Negative 1 plus 1, that's still 0. So we are just going to have this. So after reaching this stage, you are going to, let's just simplify things. Let's divide over 2 over 2 so that we get our 4 divided by 2 gives us 2 should be equal to the square root of our x minus 1. So after doing that, we can square here and square here so that we have 2 squared gives us 4 should be equal to this and this cancel. So we are going to have x minus 1 like that. So we are going to find that our 4, we are going to have 4 plus 1 should be equal to x. So our x value is equal to 5. So let us test. So we have when x is equal to 5. So in your test you say testing when x is equal to 5. So you want to test. So you are going to have the square root of, we have a 4. Yeah, we have where there is x, we put 5 plus 4 minus the square root of 5 minus 1, which should be equal to 1. So 5 plus 4 gives us the square root of 9 minus 5 minus 4 minus 1 gives us 4 should be equal to 1. So the square root of 9 gives us 3 minus the square root of 4 gives us 2, which should be equal to 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you have 1 is equal to 1. So this is true. So you can say that the solution set will give you a value that is equal to your x is equal to 5. So the 5 is working, so meaning to say that's your solution set. Let's look at one very difficult and interesting question. Okay, let's say you have this last problem. So how do you solve this one? So immediately, since we have radicals, 3 radicals, so you just square them from here. So you can look, 2 is less than 18, so it's okay if you can square them together with this one so that it's much simpler. So you are going to introduce the square here. You are going to introduce the square here. So when we do that, we are going to have this one. First, let's work with this. So working with this means already this will be your this is the same as the square root of x plus 2. Then we have plus the square root of 2x. Another one, it will be the square root of our x plus 2. Then we have plus the square root of 2x like that. So this is the meaning of this squared. So we are going to multiply this with everything. So we are going to have the square root of our x plus 2. Then we have open brackets, we multiply these. So we are going to have the square root of our x plus 2. Then we have plus the square root of our 2x like that. Then this second number multiplies everything here. So we are going to have plus the square root of 2x. Then we multiply everything. It will be our square root of our x plus 2. Then we have, so we have this plus the square root of our 2x like that. So this is 2x due to space. So we have a 2x like that. So let's multiply. So the way we multiply, we just take one radical and add the powers if they are the same. So we have the square root of our x plus 2. Then we are going to have 1 plus 1. It will be a 2. Then we have plus. Here, if there are 2 radicals, you can multiply 2 times x, 2 times so everything that is inside can multiply, but we are going to do this. It's still okay to say this times this, you just say 2x times whatever radical, we have our x plus 2 like that. It's still okay. So even here we have this times this, we are going to have plus the square root of our 2x like that, times so we have that, then times the square root. So since we are multiplying this, we have our x plus 2. Then finally, this square root of 2 times this square root of 2x, it will be, these will be adding up. So we have plus the square root of our 2x, then we just square them. So we have this times this is just get 1, then add the powers, so we are going to have power 2 like that. So instead of you multiplying them, this is very convenient. So what we are going to have is this one and this one will cancel. So we are going to have our x plus 2. Then we have plus. Already, as long as they are the same, you just look at what number is outside. So here there is 1. Here there is 1. So our 1 plus 1 is 2. So you are going to say 2. Then write everything. So it will be square root of 2 that. Then we have our x plus our 2 like that. So upon doing that, we are going to have plus, then this one and this one will cancel, so that we are going to have our 2x like that. So already after doing that, we have found, let's reduce, so we have 2x plus x, this one will give us 3x like that. Then we have plus this 2, then we have plus just this 2 first. This is the 2 plus the 2 square root of our 2x times the square root of our x plus 2. So we have found the value. Now we can just replace. So this is where we were. So x plus this plus that, when we square this, we are getting this. So we can now replace. So which will give us our 3x. Then we have plus 2, the square root of our 2x. Then we have the square root of our x plus 2. Then at the end, this one and this bracket will come, that root will cancel. Then this will be equal to, if those cancels, we are going to have 18 minus x. So let's collect the like terms. So just leaving the radical here, we are going to have 2 square root of 2x. Let's move it a bit. So we have 2 square root of 2x. Then the square root of our x plus 2 should be equal to 18. This is the number, let it subtract. So we have minus 2 if it crosses the equal sign. Then we have minus x. Even this comes here, we have minus 3x like that. So after doing that, we are going to have 2 square root of our 2x. Then we have the square root of our x plus 2, which should be equal to 18 minus 2 gives us 16. Then we have minus negative x minus 3x, that's negative 4x. So now after you reach this stage, you must make your problem simple by dividing a 2 is common throughout over 2 over 2. So this 2 is affecting all this. So this you can only divide it once. So we are going to do that. Then we are going to have, we are remaining with our 2x times the square root of our x plus 2 should be equal to 16 divided by 2 gives us 8 minus negative 4 divided by 2. That one gives us 2 like that. So already, so we have 2x like that. After reaching this stage, you square both sides. So it will be this number, since it's a radical, you can square it. You even also square this. So already this 2 will be distributed. So this is the same as 2x to the power of 2 times the square root of our x plus 2. You also square this, should be equal to, so squaring this means 8 multiplies everything. So we can just write 8 open brackets 8 minus 2x. Then we have minus 2x also multiplies everything. We are going to have, so we have minus 2x also multiplies everything. So we are going to get 8 minus 2x like that. So when we do that, let's work with this. So this square cancels with this square. This square cancels with this square. So we have our 2x, open brackets, our x plus 2. Then we are going to have 8 times 8 gives us a 64. 8 times 2 gives us a negative 32. X, negative 2x times 8, it will be minus 32x, then negative 2 times negative 2, it will be plus our 4x squared, like that. So after that, we can now multiply. So we have 2x times 2x, it will be 2x squared. 2x times 2, it will be plus 4x. Then we are remaining with should be equal to 64. So then our negative 32 x minus 32x, this one will be minus 64x. Then we have plus our 4x squared. Oh, sorry for this very terrible mistake. Yeah, just a bit that. So we have 8 times 2 here, it will give us a negative 16. Then even here, negative 2x times 16, it will be negative 16, like that. So when we get that, we are going to get negative 16 minus 16 will give us negative 32, like that. So already after doing that, we can now be able to simplify where possible. So let's take every term this side. So we are going to remain with 0 should be equal to a 64, like that. Then we have minus 32x. So this negative 4 comes here. So we have minus 4x. Then we have plus our 4x squared. Then this one comes the other side. We are going to have minus a 2x squared, like that. So we are going to have 0 should be equal to 64. Then we have minus negative 32x minus 4x gives us a 36x. Then we have plus our 2x squared. So already if we do that, that simply means to say we have done the needful. So we need to now be able to find the values using the factorization method. But if they are common, we can reduce. So we can divide 2 throughout. Then we are going to get a 0 should be equal to 64 divided by 2. That's a 32. 36 divided by 2. That's 18x. Which should be equal to, which should be plus 2 divided by 2 will just be x squared there. So let's just order them properly. So we have 0 should be equal to x squared. Then we have minus 18x plus our 32 in the standard form of a, our b, our c. So the product, so our product in this case is equal to AC. So a times c, which is just a 1 times 32, which is equal to 32. Then we have our sum, which is equal to just b. In this case, it is equal to negative 18. Then our factor should be equal to, which values can we, if we add them, they give us 32. If we subtract them, or if we multiply, if we add, they give us negative 18. If we multiply, they give us 32. So we can use negative 2, comma negative 16. If I add this, I'll get negative 18. If I multiply, I'll get positive 32. So after doing that, we can replace. So that is what we have. So we are going to just replace. So we have 0 should be equal to, not this equation. So just replacing. So we have x squared, where there is 18, it can be written as negative 2x minus 16x plus our 32. So we are going to get 0 should be equal to, x is common, open brackets. So we are factorizing in parts. So we are remaining with x minus 2. Then we have minus 16 is common. Then we are going to remain with our x minus a 2, like that. So this is 0 should be equal to, we have our x minus 16. We also have another bracket, which is our x minus 2. So even if you interchange the brackets, it's still the same. So here, this means that our x minus 16 is equal to 0, or our x minus 2 is equal to 0. So this gives us a value of our x is equal to 16, or our x is equal to 2. So let's test. So let's say when our x is equal to 16 and see the value that we will have. So when our x is equal to 16, we are going to get the square root. Okay, let's begin with the simple one. So let's say when our x is equal to a 2, we are going to have our 2, where there is x, we put 2 plus the square root of, we have our 2 times 2, which would be equal to, we have our 18 minus 2, like that. So our 2 plus 2 is 4, so we have the square root of 4, then we have plus the square root of 2 times 2 is 4 still, should be equal to the square root of our 18 minus 2, it gives us 16. So we are going to have square root of 4 is 2 plus the square root of 4 is 2, which should be equal to the square root of 16 is 4, excuse. So we have 2 plus 2 will give us a 4, which is equal to 4. So this is a true statement. So that means that that's part of the solution. Let's also try when x is equal to, what do we have? So the value that we have found is not 18. We have found when our x is equal to 16, which is the other value we found. So replacing, what value are we going to have? We have the square root of 16. We have plus 2. Then we have plus the square root of 2. Where there is x, we put 16, which should be equal to the square root of our 18 minus x is equal to 16, like that. So we have the square root of 18, then we have plus the square root of our 2 times 16 gives us a 32, like that, which should be equal to our 18 minus 16 gives us the square root of a 2. So we can reduce this further by just doing what we were doing. If you haven't watched this simplification, you can just comment I forward the video. So we have the square root of our 2 times 9. So this is the same as having 2 times 9. I prefer beginning with a perfect square. 18 is the same as 2 times 9 plus the square root of our 32 is equal to the same as 16 times 2, which should be equal to the square root of our 2, like that. So after doing that, this can be further simplified to say this is the same as square root of 9 times the square root of 2 plus the square root of 16 times the square root of 2, which should be equal to the square root of our 2, like that. So the square root of 9 gives us 3, then we have square root of 2 plus the square root of 16 gives us 4, then we have the square root of 2, like that. Yeah, so this one should be equal to, we are told that it's equal to the square root of 2. So let's just add. So we have 3 plus 4. This one will give us 7. That's how we add. If you don't know that, just comment I forward. Then we have the square root of, this should be equal to the square root of 2, like that. Finally, as you can see, these two sides are not equal because it's more like you're saying 7, let's say 7 times 2 is equal to 2. Just because the 2 is there doesn't mean they are equal. This is 14, this is equal to 2, which is a false statement. So you're going to say that this one is false. So meaning to say the solution set should be equal to, we are just going to get the one that worked, which is our x is equal to 2. So this is our solution set. So thank you very much for watching my video. Hope you would like, subscribe, share for more so that my video would reach a greater audience. See you in the next tutorial.